Welcome to another edition of the Wellbeings Podcast. I am Adriana T. We have Centonia, we have Emmanuel, we have Supernatural C, and we are getting into the performance portion of this gig. Now, with this being a subject of Elders Edition and representing for the elders, I feel like we should extend to our elder in this space, the person who lifts us up when we need it. Supernatural C, what do you have for us, sis?
Oh, thank you. I like being an elder. I can't lie. I like being 46 and having people have to listen to me. Not that everyone does that.
Bring me my coffee.
You know what I'm saying? I've spent a lot of years in service, serving these little picnics, changing nappies and cleaning and washing, and now I get to be delivered coffee in a thermos flask. Beautiful. Thank you, Adriana. Okay, so these two pieces, they are in development because there's quite a bit I want to do with them, and they're really dedicated to my grandparents. So that's Aidan Beckles and Carmentha Beckles. I woke up this morning absolutely just downloading ideas of what to do with this, because it really needs visuals to give it the justice that I want it to have. But this one is called Windrush Waves. Brown girl in the ring, tra la 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 la. She's a brown girl in the ring, tra la 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 la. Brown girl in the ring, tra la 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 la. She looks like a sugar in a plum, plum, plum. In the middle, getting down at Nanny and Grandad's house. The crowd, Roger, Diane, Lorna, Taff, Mum, Celia, Nanny. Who else? Nanny grew cabbages. Grandad played dominoes. Nanny made us pajamas. Grandad too made clothes. A suit for the boys, draped in a tape measure, while Nanny served ice cream from her job and whatever baked goods she could muster. We shelled peas at Douglas Road. Next door lived my now best friend. Years on we bond to realise all along we were connected. Uncle Seymour lived on Douglas Road too. Mum did before, and two brothers from school. Steve was around the corner, Alexander Road. Those were the days of the village, Acott's Green mode. When I couldn't go to town without seeing my nan, or going to the village and my dad drive past. Instructor of vehicles, he was always on the road. Me, I was mostly at home. Or at Nanny and Grandad's with Mum and Celia. Sometimes at Seymour's with Gwen and their girls. A word of prayer, Sister Kelly would say. We close our eyes, well, pretend to anyway, giggling at the old school, old folk, old rules. Bajan ways permeated in the food, the music, the bass, the heart, the soul, the grace. Only now I can say how grateful I am learning of Windrush Waves. Kookaburra sits on the telephone wire, jumping up and down with his bum on fire. Laugh, Kookaburra laugh, Kookaburra gay, your life must be. That was Windrush Waves.
Oh, I love it.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
That was next level. I love that so much.
It's so fun too. You know what I'm hearing? It's a bit off topic, but I hear you on that piece that I shared last time with the sample from where we were talking about relationships. You got to get Van Lab so we can record something for that. I'm gonna share it, but man, your voice, it has that rasp and that edginess to it, and even on the upbeat type of the nursery rhymes that you were just sharing, I'm like, wow, I heard something just now, and I really want to do something with you, Caroline.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That could for sure be an audiobook or like a young adult story.
Yeah.
That was definitely well done. I enjoyed it.
Oh
Very
yeah,
animated way to get us started, Auntie.
Thank
did.
you. I got one
Yeah,
more. Can I give you one
I
more?
felt like I was on a road trip. Like I felt like, you know what I'm saying? Like I felt in the car. I felt nostalgia so many different times. Like you really brought back into the feel like you could, dang, like you really can storytell too. Like, yo, yeah, we definitely have to write something together. Yo, that was really I really loved the way you kicked it with the piece of the nursery rhyme in the beginning and at the end.
Really, when I didn't realize how big this subject was for me, but I was saying to the girls, it's one of those things where when you're a child and you don't want to do stuff and your mom forces you to do it, and then when you're an adult you realize how valuable it was. You know, the amount of times mom would be like, get in the car, we're going to nanny's house, nanny and granddad's house, and me and Celia would be like, oh, I don't want to go. Do you know what I mean? I want to watch TV, I want to, but that regular, and it was regular. Mom was brilliant at that. You know, we were there every week, at least once a week, and it just became this big thing in my childhood that you don't realize till it's gone. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, thank you guys. So this is A Rush of Wind, and this is about the Windrush generation again. As with Dick Whittington, they thought the streets with gold were paved. UK citizens, they believed, welcoming arms, ready to receive. Invited, delighted for opportunity to build. On a boat or a plane, they pack their grips to leave. No dogs, no Irish, and most certainly no blacks. Met with aggression and chants of, go back! Limited options, literally no jobs. Faking an accent with the prayer of some luck. Shut out of options, council housing only. Packed into areas for blacks and Asians solely. Limited. Carmentha and Aidan, watch how they fly. They buck the system, the most high, they rise. Worked in jobs, bought a house, created a business, they were champs. Sent money back home, paid money here, raised 7 children with no show of fear. No sign of anger, peaceful diligence, bucking the labels, heads high in their crown. On a rush of wind, they built generational wealth. Not financial, opportunity came stealth. Opportunity for me, my cousins and siblings, from a peaceful place of purpose, they gave chance where none was made. Where they were sent for to become a form of slave, on a minimum wage, no respect was gave. On a rush of wind, give thanks for my grandparents, who gave it all for us without complaint or resistance. The Windrush generation. That's A Rush of Wind.
I get how important the Windrush generation is to you.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, the references you make to your Caribbean roots and everything. It makes sense from both pieces shared. You really tied things together with your words.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you, Emmanuel. It's a story that needs to be told. And it's such recent history that so many of us didn't even know about it. And the elders got their heads down and just went for it. So unless you asked the question, you weren't going to get the answers. But, you know, my mom was born in Barbados. My dad was born in Jamaica. And to realize as an adult what that meant for them to come here as teenagers to this strange land where they'd been told one thing and then experienced another. They were told they were British citizens, but then a lot of them had to apply for citizenship. They had to pay for passports when they were told. So they were sold a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got here and they were like, all these doors are closed for you. You're here to do the work that we don't want to do. So what I realized through the Windrush interviews and speaking to my mom and hearing Uncle Seymour, great Uncle Seymour, and listening to Dennis and Marcia and Ivis, was the miracles. What they've done is miraculous. And especially when you're looking at a generation that want to sit around and watch TV, not all of them, but want to sit and scroll and want to, you know, even I can't really fathom their work ethic and their ability. That's the sense of like royalness for me, is that they did it all. So I never saw no anger in my grandparents. I never heard them complain about anything. So that's, I think, the UK Black British experience, specifically the Windrush experience, the world needs to know about it because it is very unique. And alongside the Black British, there's the Asian population as well. And then after that came the African influx. So this here land, which I live on, has got a lot of cultural nuance that people just don't understand, even us here.
That's what makes it so important, right? Like of course, we can all share our perspectives from the U.S. Side of things, but how many people actually really go into depth about the UK and the Black experience in the UK outside of the fluffy Hollywood version? So I commend you and thank you for sharing your story. It's awesome. It's definitely worth hearing, and more people should.
Thank you, Adriana. Appreciate it.
I don't, you know. I want to ask a question, but I don't want to sound stupid, especially since we're recording. So I'll ask it.
There are no stupid questions, champ.
Yeah, man, ask it.
Who are the Windshire? Is that a family name or is that like a people?
That's a good question because I didn't know. I mean, my mom didn't even know what it was at first. The Windrush was the first boat from the Caribbean.
Okay.
So I could be getting this wrong, but I think it was coming from the Caribbean anyway, with like British service people on it. And then they had the bright idea, let's bring some of these back to rebuild the country after the war, because that's why they were invited to rebuild the country after the war. So that was the first influx of people from the Caribbean. But after that, like my mom came on a plane, Dennis came on a plane. Not everybody came on a boat, but there's if you look at Windrush, it will show you the boat, the Empire Windrush, and you'll see all these beautiful Caribbean people coming off the boat in trilby hats, suits. They're in their Sunday best. But you got to remember that this population had the propaganda that we've come out the jungle and we're monkeys, right? So that's the dichotomy that was faced, is the propaganda. It was just evil propaganda. And when you speak to white British people now, you know, a lot of them just didn't know what was going on. People weren't, not everybody was racist. A lot of people just didn't have a view because they didn't even know what was going on. You know, so that's why I think we've been able to settle here and integrate so well, because we're proud people. People from the Caribbean are proud people. We're clean, we cook, we look after our children well. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of, and when you look at the, as they call it, distance traveled in social work and whatnot, the distance traveled for my generation is huge. Because I'm not supposed to have a degree and be a professional, and we're not supposed to be doing that. We were supposed to come here and work in factories, drive the buses, work in the NHS, clean the buildings. So it's literally miraculous what they did and what we've done. And for
So
me,
basically, it's like a slave ship. It was like a kind of, sort of, even though they didn't like kidnap them, they sold them this false thing, but it's basically like a boat, like that brought people over the wind shot. That's interesting. I am gonna have to look into that.
It was around the
Is
time
that
of World War II, or after World War II, right?
after World War II? That's interesting. That's dope that you even gathered that information, or like for this piece. That was dope. Well, I don't know if maybe you knew it already, but I didn't. So thank you for sharing.
oh, you're welcome.
All right. Well, I feel like we should keep the Caribbean griot vibes going and head over to our divine masculine energy, I am I. What offering do you have for us today, good brother?
I'll give thanks. I got 2 pieces as well. And one is untitled. The other one is dedicated to my grandmother from Jamaica. She also, I'm not sure if she went by plane or was on the MV Empire Windrush, but she also made her way out to the UK. My mom was born there. So I'm going to share a bit about parenting through these words. I'm going to start with the untitled memoir / poem that I got. So the other day, my mother asked me, when's the next time we're performing? When it comes to being supportive as a parent, she's got that in the bag. I wonder what my dad would have been like as a father in his senior years. His life was ended by the gun before my youngest sister turned 1. I would often think of the day my turn would come. When that day arrived, it brought me a son. And the journey of being a parent begun with no rule book, no checklist, not even a little plan. If playing it by ear was a person, I saw him every time I looked in the mirror, man. Learning the tone and cadence of each cry on the fly. Mama told me not to whip that boy. Grandma's hands held that bundle of joy and gave him a toy. When I told my mama's mama his name is Kyrie, she asked, who telling no forgive the baby any name? I didn't get the memo that we were supposed to have a naming ceremony. I didn't even know if my parents had one for me. I'll do my best to remember to pass the ritual on to my son when he's a parent to be.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I didn't want to start reading prematurely. Get it in. Yo, you got it's a breath of fresh air. I love your, when you perform, when you rap, but this is a different side, and it's very, very nice. It's very, very nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it too. I started, I'm actually very deep into the book of poetry that I'm writing. So it's a collection of memoirs and poetry. Being that this is a 9-year, I'm doing a total of 9 pieces. It's going to be 3 parts where it's roots, rhythms, and reflections. So, and that's from this group that we've put together, thanks to High Level Club, thanks to Supernatural C for being a positive enabler, as you all are. And this is where I'm at now with it. I'm not just playing guitar, rapping. I'm also putting pen to paper and getting my author on.
Yo, tap in. You tapped in. You tapped in. You tapped in just now. I want to hear the next one before, but I just wanted to say, I can go in on a piece. I'll go in at the end, but it was just a breath that I was just like, wow, like, damn, that is, like, I can listen to that. I can listen to that.
Okay, so it's going to be an audio book too.
I love the comparison or the juxtaposition of you talking about your mom raising you, and then you talking about you raising your son. And something I love the vulnerability when you open up about your dad as well, because I can imagine it's such a hard subject, but it helps us to see you. And there's so many people out there that I'm sure can relate, and that you give strength to, you know.
I just have 3 words. This is hip hop.
Say it again.
In a real way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
That was dope. So bad. Yeah.
So the next piece is a rap, but I'm not doing it to any beat. I'm just gonna give it a go a cappella. This is dedicated to Mrs. Hermine Brown, Mama B. Had to sit with it a minute, search, thinking, how do I begin this verse? Life's the one thing don't nobody want to finish first. It's a different hurts. Your frequency still on earth, and death is really just a new birth. To a higher plane, knowledge I've obtained from the wisdom you've imparted. Now that you departed, them Jews hitting the hardest. And you was right on target with all of it. Wish that we could talk a bit, just to let you know how fortunate I am. I cannot forget. You taught me manners and respect, and how to set a table. We had Mama B, no Aesop's fable. Close my eyes, sometimes I still see you. Can't touch you, but Mama, we still feel you. Wrote this letter to tell you that we miss you. Mama B, we really miss you. That's just a piece of it, but that's going to be put out on the memorial of Mama B's passing, dedicated to my grandma.
Yeah, you float on that one, bebops on that one. All the lessons you too. Yeah, you went off on that one too. You did good this time.
Thank you.
You always do good. Don't misunderstand me. Don't misunderstand me. You always do exceptionally, but I'm just so like, even this one, even just doing this acapella, I don't know, maybe it's just the evolution, but it's just like, yeah. That's all I gotta say. I'm pass the mic.
I agree. I think each show, it seems like everybody's improving, right? And in that regard, I think you got that chemistry between reading and projected down pat at this point, good sir. Vibes, man. Again, you are hip hop in a real way.
Hey, I love it. Thank you so much. That's well received.
Absolutely.
I love the reflection on your grandmother as well, because I think that it's something we need to hail them up, because grandparents do a completely different job. And yeah, that real beautiful ode to your grandmother. I loved hearing that.
You saw how I tied in the manners and respect part?
Yes.
So Manners and Respect is the group between me and my brother Jaja Beats. So yeah, and we get a lot of that from the Jamaican upbringing, Caribbean, I should say. You know, you're taught to have manners and respect. You don't go out in this world and disrespect your elders. You know, you raise proper.
Yeah, I didn't even pick that up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's good. When I was reflecting for this podcast, I was writing the piece. When I did the promo, that's what it was, and I said that I never had deep, intimate conversations with my grandparents, and I know other people will have, and Ome and Millie have a different relationship because they're a different generation. But it definitely was. Sometimes I still bristle when I see this. People might not like this, but when I see these big mouth youths, you know what I mean? It's like, this is not your place. Be quiet. You know, we were so deeply trained in that. You know, we would sit there, and it wasn't that the children sat on the chairs and the adults sat on the floor. The adults sat on the chairs and the children sat on the floor.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we were down there having our own little party while we're listening to what the elders are talking about. Mm-hmm. But we knew inherently this conversation is not for your contribution. You can listen, but you better keep your mouth shut.
Mouth shut.
Yeah, you're literally just here to sit at the feet of the elders.
Just to
Yeah.
soak up. Just be a sponge. That's your job
Yeah.
right now. Just be a sponge. Yeah.
And a friend of mine who grew up in Vietnam, but she's Chinese, told me that when she was children in the compound, you would have to serve, the children would serve the elders before they could eat. And I think these kind of rituals are what build that respect. When you've got children running around, can jump in conversations, you lot are sitting and talking, and they think, like, oh man, Millie, no, they don't, they know. They sit and observe and they listen and they gain wisdom. But certain times, if you're going to chip into a conversation, you're going to get, because no one's asking your opinion. And that's not out of disrespect. Listen and learn, you know?
Oh, I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Dang, because it's like nowadays, because that's the whole gentle parenting thing, that like there's that line that is easily crossed so often, because it's like, yeah, you want them to express how they feel, like express themselves, but there's a boundary, and it's okay for grown-ups to have their time and for children to have their time. Like, but there is a line drawn, and now kids really just feel like what they feel, no offense, they feel like what they feel matters all the time. How you feel doesn't matter in the situation, because like you said, nobody asked you. You can't do nothing or contribute to nothing going on here. Mind your business, stay in your place. That's not being mean, that's being for real.
Yeah.
But I agree with you on that.
Take the best parts of what we got from our elders and perpetuate it forward, I think is the message here. Everybody doesn't always get it right, but what they do get right, promote that as opposed to bottling it and burying it, right? With that being said, we move on from the Caribbean griots to the top-notch stone oracle of it all.
American.
What you got? What you got?
All right. I got a little something I put together. Here we go. All right. I get nervous right before every time. All right.
Better cook.
Come over here, baby. Sit down. You're moving too fast and missing half the story. Now, I done watched the world spin more times than I can count. And if there's one thing I know, it don't wait for nobody and it don't owe you nothing. But I tell you what it will do. It'll test you over and over again to see if you remember who you are when folks don't treat you right. So let me give you some truths my mama gave me. Straight up, no chaser. First, love on your own self before you go handing pieces of you to somebody who ain't even holding their own. Because some folks will love you when you're shining, but they won't stick around when it's time to polish. And baby, let me make this clear. Pretty is fine, but it's your peace that'll keep you. You hear me? You can fix your face all you want, but if your spirit heavy and your feet tired from chasing folks who don't see you, you ain't gonna feel beautiful no matter how good your hair lay. Now don't go thinking hard work is a punishment, baby. It's a privilege. Ain't nothing wrong with working hard for what you want. Just don't forget to live. No one to rest, no one to pray, no one to laugh until you gotta hold on to your side. But also no one to walk away if it ain't helping you grow, baby. Now your mama, Lord, I loved her. But I raised her in a different time. Back then, discipline was love and softness was a luxury we could not afford. But you get my gentler hands. It's still strong, baby, don't get it twisted. But I'm wiser, I'm more patient, I'm softer with the truth. So, when I tell you you're enough, know I mean it with everything in me. You ain't gotta prove a damn thing to be worth something. Just stand tall. Hold on to your own heart gently and keep moving. Then if you forget all of that, baby, Just come back to me again and we'll rockin' this shit till the world slows down. That's it. I don't know why I got so
Nice,
nervous today.
nice, nice. You know what?
Yeah, I got nervous today. That's because I
Uh,
really wanted to perform this one.
You can develop that though, because that's
yeah,
lyrics for days there. There's so many visuals that come up, and it's almost like a roadmap. Like if it, there's so many people out there that don't have. So somebody could watch that who wish they got, elder advice and gain the advice from your poem. There's so many gems. I love the bit about hard work. When
I
we're
wrote
in a
that down
society.
too.
Did you as well?
Yeah, hard work is a privilege.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that stuck out.
Yeah.
That's lyrics.
I'm tight. I messed up though, but it is though. I was thinking about my job. I don't want to work it most of the time, but I'm so thankful for it because it allows me to do the things that I actually do love. It allows me to buy into the software I need for the things that I
Yeah.
am actually trying to do for my business. So it actually is a privilege. And I think as much stuff as I do talk about it, if I was to get fired tomorrow, I would be like, you know what I'm saying? I would be jacked up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I mean, I would move, I would make do, move on, but it's
Yeah,
still
right.
work. You understand? So, yeah.
Then after that, you also said, don't forget to live. So that stood out to me too. Like, yeah, hard work is a privilege, right? But you still got this life to do. And then another thing that hit close to home, because me, my brother, and my cousin, and another brother from Jamaica, he's living out here now. We were having a conversation about my grandmother and how she was, when we were younger. And softness wasn't a luxury that she could afford with so many of us. So she was stern, right? And as we grew, we got to see a softer side of grandma. So that's what my cousin was telling our brother from Jamaica. He was like, I wish you were there when we were younger, and she would pick up that shoe and let you know she meant business. Yeah. That poem brought me to a place.
I got that part from the conversation that we had. That they treat the grandkids way nicer than they. I got that from that part of the conversation. Yeah. But it's true.
I mean, a gang of little boys in any generation is a headache. So I don't know how you soft parent a gang of boys when they're all rustling. I mean, even little girls. I always say, like, my daughters jump off things, and they were all rough and tumble as well. But you can get little girls to sit down. Having been in education and spoke to the teachers and whatnot. Millie had a class where it was mainly boys, which is rare. So there were 20 boys and 10 girls. It's usually the other way around. And I went with them on a trip once, and my God, man, I was just like, I want to go home. Like these. They were walking off, they were listening. I was like, I'm talking to you. This one little boy, the one little black boy in the class, decided to hold my hand for the whole trip.
Oh,
that's sweet.
It was sweet, it was, but I was like, no one else is holding kids' hands. Why are you holding my hand? But I can imagine for your grandmother. I can see it makes absolute sense why she softened as you got older. That's a beautiful testimony. And as I say, Synthonia, I think that is just packed full of gems of wisdom.
I just honestly, when I really, really wrote it, I really, really was thinking like what I would want to hear, like somebody say to me, just imagine if I had somebody, and I was just thinking about all the conversations, and really like I took a lot of like Medea moments. I'm not gonna lie, so that's my transparency there. So
that's your power, though, right? Like, I mean, like, I know you or you. We don't have to dig into tone being top-notch tone right now, right? But that vulnerability and that willingness to shed some skin and also take what you've learned from life and put that into your work is what makes you an oracle, right? That's what makes your pieces so transparent. That's what makes your pieces so vivid to where we can see what you're talking about. Just continue to embrace that. I think it's amazing, bro. Slip ups and all, we've all done it. We all will continue to do it, and that's what makes us human, right? And that's what makes us the best examples of what true artistry is, pushing through and still creating magic. It was amazing, man. I loved it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to get better though, because I really wanted to perform this piece. Like I really did. But that's all right. Next time. Next time. Next time. Yeah, next time. But I
I
really
think you
did.
did though.
Dang,
I
that's what
think
got me so tight. Cause I really wanted to perform this piece. I wanted to really I wanted to sound like an older, wise person, like saying it, but I was too nervous. It's all right though. It's all
I
right.
know you don't see that, but you actually did. Like I got those literal auntie vibes. I can see
Yep.
your nephew on your
Yep.
lap, and you literally giving them this information, right, and giving them that game. And any grandmother, any elder in general, is not gonna sit and talk to you like Maya Angelou. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna say what they say in the way that they say it. So embrace that, man. You don't have to be perfect all of the time to be perfect. That was perfectly imperfect, and the point was made very well,
Thank you.
for sure.
So you want me to pass it to you now? Check it out. Boom, boom, boom. Last but not least on the job. Now we got I Am Adriana, right? What you got for us on this elderly edition for us?
Well, I love your guys' approach, and per usual, we are all in alignment with how we chose to create. For me, I created this piece called Lineage, by the way, um, by considering the conversations we've had about what an elder is, whether it be an older or a younger elder, what qualifies them. You know what I mean? And digging deep into the spirituality of it. So, let's get it going. Where we start and where we end both begin on the tongue with the simplest questions. Where do babies come from? Do you remember that time from back in the day? Do you recall his jokes? Recollect what she'd say? Celebrating new birth, reflecting on the seasons, translating different cries, finally getting their reasons, all intertwining as teachable moments, similar in message, purpose, and potent. Where we crawl and where we run, both take shape in the mind, as imagination that adapts, becoming real over time. From wobbling steps to sturdy glides that evolve to repeat how they began their strides. If you pay close attention, you'll notice that ascension requires being humbled by each life transition, demands that you learn throughout your journey, assigns you to teach from what you're learning. Where we see or are blinded, both appear through the ears, from actively listening or refusing to hear, disabled by the crippling of a mind that wouldn't open, or armored by the clarity, thought-provoking, expansions considered, accepted, and debated, embracing existence as constantly changing, agreeing peace and love overrule hate and judgment, rejecting projection, rising above it, or succumbing from it because of the weight of fear, uncertainties, and resistance to change. Where we're numb or feel so deeply, both unfold in the heart, encouraging togetherness or falling apart, observing the soul, no matter the exterior, or conveying the cold, infecting the interior, holding popular opinions or developing your own, demanding inclusion or standing alone, presenting conviction from a space of calm or displaying confliction by raising your tone, repelling your lessons by clinching escape, pretending to cope to get through the day. Not getting the advices don't keep them at bay. They'll show up to school you either way. Jumping headfirst into wisdom gain, leave less room for strain and residual pain, leading to patterns reaching their end instead of needing to face them again. Where we start and where we end doesn't really make sense. There's no real ending. We're born to transcend. brought into this world to see the beauty of life through the view beyond sight, revealing darkness is light. Understanding that silence is where honesty lies. True vision appears when you close your eyes. Intuition supersedes the validity of fact. Influence can impair or improve how we act. Knowledge bears fruit where education lends to rot. Motion without focus creates the need to never stop. And smell the roses from the blooms of future past and present moments, configured by the souls that contribute each component. Equally open and blatant with candor, fragile and strong, before aging and after. From the mouth of babes or the lips of an elder is the magic of pathways that lead to forever. What we do and who we are build upon the collective. The infant and the senior share the same reflection. Where we started and where we end leaves no room to break free. Where we go and where we come from makes more sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Powerful.
Layer
Thank
upon
you.
layer. The wordsmith, that's my name for you, man. Because you just take words and conjure them into like.
I like that conjure. I like that word. I appreciate
Hey, man, you weave them words together like.
It's
what?
magic.
Yes. What? Talking about Oracle. Oracle, my boy. You what? You like the Eminem of the poetry world. Like, what?
Well, she said the beauty
I'll
of
take that
life through the
compliment
view
abundantly.
beyond sight. I was like, oh,
Yo, it's when you close
what?
your eye, like when you close your eyes is when you your vision is when you close your eyes is when your vision is clear. Yo, I was like, yo, you're a lyricist for real though.
Yeah,
You
nothing
kept
short of.
going though. Sheesh. All right, let me shut up. Go ahead.
I've got a comment because Emmanuel said it in his promo as well, and I think you referenced it twice in your piece about elders and children
I
and
caught
the
that.
similarity. Yeah, and for me personally, I think that's one of the most magical things about life. Where you see that circle join, they meet at that intersection, because there is definitely something when you watch them interact as well. It's magical. So I love the way you drop that, because they are we in our current position, we're kind of out of that mix. They have this unsaid different like little language that they speak between them. Do you know what I mean?
And they're the most
It's what.
transparent at that age when they don't have a filter. Elders don't care after a certain age, and
Yep.
kids are learning, so they're learning how and when to speak, right? So I think that lack of a filter is what makes that particular bond so
The
magical.
world fun.
Yeah, she said the infant and the senior share the same reflections. Yeah, that was.
Dang, I missed that bar.
That's what made me think about what I said in the promo of how children and elders, I'm not saying what I said word for word, but they're pretty much aligned is what I'll say. It's like that's what that brought up for me, and just how they just interact with each other like Supernatural C said. It's authentic.
I think that's
Physical
what it is.
representation of the circle of life, right?
Yeah, they have the same energy. That's what it is. Like when you look at them, like you said, they're so adorable to make your heart warm. Like you just see them, and the same thing with a kid. They just share the same energy too. Like, but that's dope. I missed that bar, but that's a dope one too. They share the same perspective. But their energy. It's like it's authenticness, but it's more pure too. It's more like I love old people. I'm not gonna lie. I'd rather be around older people than people like my age, to be honest with you.
In 2025, they are an underutilized resource, in my opinion. Like there's so much game you can get from older people and children, of course. But I mean, in this day and age where if you're over the age of 40, people choose or for whatever reason feel like they have to avoid you for whatever reason, I think they're doing themselves a disservice. I've gotten some of the most important lessons of my life from people over the age of 60. period. And I think that, more people would benefit if they took the time to pause and actually listen to what they have to say. I mean, sure, they can
Mm.
go on tangents a little bit, to be clear, especially black elders. We love them, but we can, be in their kitchen for 6 hours. But in that 6 hours, you're getting like 10 years worth of game. So, you know what I mean? Think about the trade off. And then one day you'll be wishing you're sitting at their table when they're no longer with us.
And I think I agree 100% with everything you said. And I think near elders are just as valuable. So somebody
Mhm.
that's 10 years older than me, you are still, my brother is 10 years older than me. So I've always seen his age group as my elders. My sister is 7 years older than me, so I've always seen her age group as my elders. I was the young, and they take me raving and that, but I was the young one in the group. And I think that, anybody, it's not just about age, it's about experience, but the two can often go hand in hand. And I think that's what's getting kind of wiped out of the reality or the mindsets of some younger people, is that if you've had a longer life, you're going to have been through more things that can place you in a position to give guidance. It's just that simple.
Can I say, because like just recently, my my biological aunt and I was having a conversation, right? And it got to the point where she felt like she had to tell me that she was my elder in the conversation. Now, I've never ever had a conversation with with anybody, a respectful conversation, and they've had to tell me I'm an elder or whatever, this and the third. Right? I feel like I conduct myself with respect. I feel like if you're I'm saying this because like now, based off of what you're saying, my interpretation of what an elder is has like, not that it has nothing to do with age. Somebody younger to me can't be my elder, but to me, like when I say elder, I think of like wise head. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like not just somebody who's like older and like sometimes good gives good advice or something. When I say elder, like I'm thinking they carry themselves a certain type of way. When you automatically like give them reverence, you know what I'm saying, in the way that they conduct and they move, like that's how I look at an elder, right? So when I'm having this conversation with my aunt, she is not that type of person. Now she's not the type that like go out and wow, she's not that, but she is not what I would consider an elder neither. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not rude or disrespectful to her. So I guess in all that I'm saying, I don't care how old you are. To me, that don't make you an elder. I don't care if you're 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I don't care how much experience you have. I care about how you conduct yourself, how empathetic you are to people around you, how warm, how nurturing you are, like, you know what I'm saying? Like how forgiving, how grateful you are, just you know what I'm saying? Like it's a package deal, like of existence to me.
It's a big point. It's a big point. And I think equally, the elders that flourish, and I think you said it in your promo, are the ones that embrace the youth as well, are the ones that travel through time rather than stay stuck in a time warp. Because as much as I respect my elders, I love youthful energy. You know what I mean? There's so much to be gained from younger people. Mom would have never transferred her numbers onto the tablet without my niece Jade. that would be an impossible task. So it's like it goes the other way in terms of when you're looking down at those younger than you. In the same way you just said it, that's what it made me think, Synthonia, is that it's the energy, it's the energy that they're coming with. And I think that all goes back to self-love on a spiritual level, self-love and authenticity. Because
go ahead.
No, you go ahead, my dear.
I was just gonna say, simple and plain. If you are it, you don't have to say it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if a person feels the need to overemphasize who they are, they're maybe putting on a mask that they can't necessarily wear. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, there's a lot of people like that in the world who haven't evolved to that place yet. I agree with Tone on that point. Elders come in all shapes and sizes, right? But at the end of the day, literally, you can just be it. You don't have to say it. And if other people recognize that in you, they will call you that. They will respect you as such.
But to be the to put the little
Contrarian.
needle in there.
I love it.
But
I love
think
it.
with a global world and all these different cultures coming together, we are the example that even you three all being from America, two of you both being from New York, you're going to have different cultural experiences, you know? And I think that in a time aspect, we're in a time where there are some things that go on these days that are shocking to some older people, including myself, where you do have to go, you do have to exert your position and say, I am an elder. Watch your mouth. Don't talk to me like that. You have to reassert boundaries, because some of this stuff wouldn't have needed to be said back in the day. You know, and I don't know if I know you guys have that. There's a term that you use, which I don't like to say, but YNs, you know, that kind of, there's a generation, there are certain people in certain arenas that have no respect for nothing.
You're right.
Very
Valid
true.
point.
No matter what you call them. Yeah.
Valid point.
Yeah.
All right, we got your butt. You got it.
But I will challenge that a little bit and say, do you have to say it? Like you can exert your authority without actually saying I am this or I am that. Can you not express that point without identifying yourself as such?
True. But will they know that you're because again, like sometimes you got to be plain and clear. I'm not saying, I'm just talking from, this is all theoretical. It's not something that I do necessarily. I don't go around going, do you know who I am? I had a colleague. And she used to joke about getting her pass and going, that she says to people, do you know who I am? Because that's the energy of that, of saying, you know, I'm an elder. But if you're dealing with people that have no concept of the thing, just being the thing isn't necessarily going to be enough. Sometimes you might have to explain what the thing is.
Can I say something? I feel like even for like YNs or for those groups, because you're 100% right. But I feel like if it's the point where you have to really explain like who you are, I'm this person, that person doesn't care either way anyway. So why even waste your time with that person in that situation? If I have to tell you that I'm an elder, we don't even need to be having a conversation. What I'm telling you is probably falling on deaf ears anyway. You're not respecting the conversation. It's this and third. And I already conduct myself in a certain type of way that I don't have to tell you I'm an elder. So if you don't respect the fact that I'm coming at you already respectfully and we're having a conversation and you're being disrespectful, we don't need the conversation's finished. I don't have to tell you I'm an elder. It doesn't matter either way.
I'm getting a few things from what's being said. So what's understood doesn't need to be explained, right?
That part.
And not everybody gets that. One thing that is coming up for me, and as far as conduct with elders, from my interactions, across the board, just give everybody grace, right? So whether they conduct themselves as such or not, I still think there's something to learn from the elder who doesn't present as such, right? Maybe that's not how I want to be in my elder years. So that's what I'm learning and picking up game from, because I do think that life has a bunch of lessons when we're open to receiving them. And they don't always come from the people that we think are our teachers. I work with somebody and he's big on when we think about politics, he's on the red side. And I'll learn probably the most from anybody on the job from him. And I'm not on either side. But sometimes some of the things that he says can come off as brash or really inconsiderate. So now I take that and say, okay, I get where he's going with it. That's not how I would approach it. And that's something that stood out to me because he is an elder for me. He's about 10 years my senior. And when I'm 10 years further on in this life, God willing, I would see how I can conduct myself to be more well received, right? Because a lot of times he rubs people the wrong way, but he's a very sociable guy. He'll know from the super on the job, the general contractor, he knows everybody. He talks about everything, some stuff that I think you shouldn't talk about on the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like his delivery is what I'm learning. Okay, how can I fine tune mine? A lot of times I might even be tuning into a video. I saw something with Dame Dash the other day, and he was talking about Cameron. And the whole time he's talking, I'm listening through the lens of like he was talking to me, right? Because I try not to talk about anybody bad nowadays. I don't know where this came from, but it's been like for the past month, I said I'm not going to put anything out there where I'm gossiping about anybody. So even if I'm listening to somebody gossiping, which I don't think I'm not saying Dame Dash was doing this because he was speaking about his experience, right? He wasn't trying to bash. So I'm listening for the gold. Where are the gems that I can pick up and, apply to my life? Because some people listen to Dame Dash and think like he's, however they have feelings about him, right? But for me, in totality, holistically, I'm just trying to learn from life. And I think our elders, if they present as such or not, all have something to give to us.
That's a very valid point. And like I said, dang, I don't know why I never thought of it that way, even though inadvertently I still do, because like you said, like I just asked, like, I wouldn't even have did that, like, or like what made this person think like that, like, you know what I'm saying? So I do think in the reverse, but I just never put it like that. So I guess like that's true that I don't know. I guess it's just like I don't know where the terminology just sounds like it's just supposed to be elder. Elder sounds like it should equal wise person. You know, like to
Right?
me in my
Yeah.
mind.
There's a certain reference we have for the word elder.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what it is. But yeah,
But I don't think it's
absolutely
just
right.
reserved for people who conduct themselves in a certain way. I think once
Mm.
you have experienced enough life, then we all should treat others with respect, even if we don't think that they carry themselves in a respectful manner.
Yeah,
And from that lens, it takes the negativity out of it, right? Like and that also incurs good karma for you, as opposed to, you know, reciprocating that same energy and then wondering why a week later you had a terrible day. you know, that's I think that's seeing thing, and I do something similar actually. In my own life, I think it just creates a better aura around you to not participate in gossip, to not perpetuate that energy. But you taught me something in uh, extracting that from each and every person. Because for me, if I don't agree with it, sometimes I'll just detach and not listen, right? Because I'm like, I don't like what you're saying, so therefore I'm just not going to listen to you. But I think it's important to do that, right? Because what do I not want to do when I'm in my 50s and 60s? And on the opposite end of the spectrum, to comment on what Tone was saying, some of the younger people have the attention of a mosquito, which is why I was like, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's easier said than done to get your point across, which is why I'm like, why they may not even, you're right, they may not even receive you if you say, I'm an elder, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. But if you show them something different, like in the span of 15 to 30 seconds, which is what they're used to, which is possible, it may benefit them more. It's complicated, and obviously a lot of people don't want to put that much energy into someone, especially if they're not a family member. But I mean, we're supposed to pour, right? We're supposed to be professional students of life. We're supposed to teach and we're supposed to learn. So I think as much good as we can put back into the universe as a whole, the better, no matter how complicated it might seem. Take your time, do your meditations, zen out, but also consider the all people, right? Not just your own people. That's my
Now,
piece on
I agree. I was saying it in a sense of if somebody's disrespecting me, like if you're having a conversation with a quote unquote YN or somebody that just don't that just is just disrespectful and you to the point where you have to like try to get them to understand that you an eldest for them to like not be disrespectful in the conversation. I'm saying in that sense, like to me, what you gonna keep going in the conversation till you start arguing back and forth, and then now you no longer being even viewed as an elder. Now they like say, look at you, because now you let your anger or your temper, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, for me, again, each
that's
individual
when
needs
you
to know
walk away.
themselves. That's number
Yeah.
one. Each individual needs to
Hmm.
know what they need to do for themselves. So I'm
Hmm.
thinking of myself as an elder in this situation. But
Hmm.
I'm not saying like no. If I see a YN, especially me, that's the like nobody would even believe that. Like I like first of all the I don't want to say all the YN, but they rock with me. They relate. Like I could talk to them. Like you know what I'm saying. So I don't really. And I'm not a elder, but
You are to
I'm
them.
saying I don't mind pouring into nobody. I
Hmm.
respect everybody. I respect somebody that's laying in the street with black souls. And I speak to them. If they got up and they started speaking to me, I'm gonna speak with respect or whatever. Like that's just me, period. But if
Hmm.
I'm sitting there and I'm having a conversation with this individual, and this individual is beating me down and using profane language, and I'm sitting there having, and they disregard and they talking over me, and I'm not. The conversation is over to me.
I
I'm not.
agree.
I'm
That's
not
when
gonna
you walk away. You
indulge in the
give them the
conversation.
game and then you walk away.
I
That's when
mean,
you then that's when you choose your piece over the overall. I agree with you on that for sure. Try to pour, and if they don't want it, hey man, you can pour out the glass. I'm gonna keep my water. Period. I'm
Because
hydrated
all
over
you
here.
all you really got to do is drop a seed. Because you
Hmm.
drop a seed, they could act however they want in that moment, but you have to also know, like I said, you have to know when to walk away when you not grown from it neither. Like if I
I
drop
agree.
my seed and now it's to the point where now you taking me, so I dropped a seed. It might take 5 years for that seed to start sprouting what, but that I did my part and that's it. I
Hmm.
poured.
Yeah. Thank you later. Period. Absolutely.
yeah, what I wanted to add was I think that, again, it's what I heard from what Emmanuel said is kind of that moving from the position of love, like what Adriana enforced afterwards, is that it's the love energy. And that, when people are, a lot of the time, these characters that are labeled like yourself, Emmanuel, somebody that, if a lot of people don't like somebody, I probably will get on with them. Because for me, there's something, it's that authenticity. So they're the ones that are going to say what they want to say. Whereas all these other people are minding their mouth, but they're lying, they're not being truthful, they're not being honest. And I think, again, with young people, I wanted to just reflect back that working with them for so long, it's often not the ones that you think. Some
Hmm.
of the ones that I've been given their file and they're this and that and they're this and that are the most polite. They're the ones going, can I carry your bag, Caroline? They're the ones that show me nothing but respect. So it's like the kind of labels that are put out there. I've had more disrespect in truth, and I haven't had a lot from young people, but more disrespect from those that are privileged than those that come from challenge.
Hmm.
And again, in the workplace with some of these colleagues that people are like, stay away from them, or they're a big mouth, or they're always angry. I'm not afraid of you, so your anger don't scare me, and I'm gonna listen. And this, you can lose out. These crazy people are often the most wise. So you can lose a lot by disregarding somebody because you just got this
That's
view of
true.
them. You know what I'm saying? So I think when you're moving from love and authenticity and fearlessness. You know, I'm never make out like I'm perfect or whatever. I can get triggered, and there's certain things that trigger me that will keep me away from certain characters no matter what. But I think energetically, that's always the answer. If their energy, if you can feel the love energy in them, the positivity in them, even if they got an angry face and they're spitting out, you know, the energy is what rules.
Valid point.
Intuition. It's intuition at the end of the day. Never judge a book by its cover. I think more people need to tap back into that wisdom. I think that's something that's forgotten.
100%. And again, you know, just to wrap up that bit, for me, that's what I like about this group. What I really enjoy about this group is that we're not the same. You can't come on here and go, all black people do this. And in the team that I came from before, there was a lot of us that were black, and we were diverse black. Someone from Kenya, someone from Jamaica, someone from Barbados, someone from, this one was in London, this one grew up in Chelmsford Wood, this one grew up. So in that team, we were diverse. And it shuts down that they're all like this. We're not all like anything. So that's, I really enjoy the fact that we're not some kind of like cookie cutter
Monolith.
tree. Yeah, there's the wordsmith for you. Monolith.
Yeah. Right on time.
This has been the performance portion of our Raising Children Elders edition of the Wellbeings Podcast. We appreciate you. And on to the elders.